Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News, an Indian perspective on All India Radio. This is Naresh Mago, and with me is Abhineet Shukla, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment, and more. The headlines. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar stresses on collective approach to terrorism. Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh chairs the review meeting for the 18th G20 summit to be held in New Delhi. Nepal set to go for polls on Sunday for the general elections. The 53rd edition of IFFI Goa begins on Sunday with the theme Evolution of Indian Cinema in the Last 100 Years. India Pavilion at COP27 in Egypt with the theme of Life sends message for a sustainable lifestyle for environment. The 29th APEC Summit affirms commitment to strong, balanced, secure, sustainable and inclusive growth. FIFA World Cup 2022 to start with a bang on Sunday in Doha, Qatar. And Manika Batra clinches bronze at ITTF ATTU Asian Cup Tournament. Indian External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Saturday stressed the importance of all states collectively following an undifferentiated and undiluted approach to terrorism. He highlighted the reasons behind the growing scope, scale and intensity of the terrorist threat in recent years in the No Money for Terror conference in Delhi. Speaking at the session on promoting international cooperation, Dr. Jaishankar said the reasons include advancements in technology and resurgence of radical ideologies and their more seamless spread. He cited interpenetration and interdependence on globalization, greater competition among states that are exploited by terrorists, and continued tendency of some to use terrorism as a tool of statecraft as some of the other reasons. The minister emphasized that terror is terror, and no political spin can ever justify it. He called upon the world to rise above political divides to address this peril. He said this battle against terrorism must be fought resolutely on all fronts, in all situations and at all places. On the 15th of next month, under India's presidency of the UN Security Council, India will organize a briefing on threats to international peace and security caused by terrorist acts, global approach to counter-terrorism, challenges and way forward. Dr. Jaishankar said it is essential to encourage a whole-of-the-government approach at home and a whole-of-the-world approach abroad.
Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh on Saturday chaired a high-level review meeting for the preparations of Science 20 meetings of the G20 summit to be held in India in 2023. The Science 20 summit will be held in Coimbatore from 21st to 22nd of July next year. The theme of the summit will be Disruptive Science for Innovative and Sustainable Growth. Dr. Singh said the expected deliverables of the Science 20 will be the creation of better and encouraging frameworks for environmentally responsible technologies, global ecosystem for startup mentorship and funding, and creation of a common digital global heritage that is accessible for all the citizens.
With barely 12 days to go before December the 1st, when India formally takes over the presidency of G20, expectations are high that under India's leadership, the forum will be decisive and action-oriented. The 17th edition of the G20 summit in Bali saw Indonesian President Joko Widodo handing over the charge to Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. In his Twitter statement, Prime Minister Modi said, "Our agenda will be inclusive, ambitious, decisive and action-oriented. We will work to realize all aspects of our vision of one Earth, one family, one future," he said. More on how G20 operates in this report from our World News Desk.
India will formally assume the G20 presidency for 1 year from the 1st of December this year to 30th of November next year from Indonesia. The 18th edition of G20 Leaders Summit will be held for the first time in India in New Delhi during 7th to 9th September 2023. For the first time, the G20 Troika would consist of 3 developing nations, India, Indonesia and Brazil. It is a reflection of the growing clout of developing nations and emerging economies, providing them a greater voice. As a founding member of the G20, India has used the platform to raise issues of vital importance. The focus will be on building political commitment of global leaders in resolving challenges which affect global economic growth. These include issues of finance, trade, infrastructure and investment. The other core areas are energy, employment, development, agriculture and technology, innovation and the digital economy. In order to discuss these issues, the G20 is divided into two channels, namely the financial track and the Sherpa track. The financial channel consists of finance ministers and central bank governors from all G20 members. It addresses a number of agendas related to the financial sector. The Sherpa track addresses other agendas that are outside the financial sector, as well as preparing various documents to be discussed at the summit. The outcome is based on consensus and keeping in mind the global good.
The 53rd International Film Festival of India, IFFI, will begin on Sunday in Goa. The opening ceremony will be held at Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Indoor Stadium near Panaji. A total of 280 films from 79 countries will be screened during the 9-day event. 25 feature films and 20 non-feature films will be showcased in the Indian Panorama section, while 183 films will be part of international programming. Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award will be given to Spanish film director Carlos Saura at the opening ceremony. France is the spotlight country and 8 films will be screened under the country focus package. One of Asia's oldest film festivals will be opened with Austrian director Dieter Berner's Alma and Oscar. More from our IFFI Goa correspondent.
Film personalities Mrunal Thakur, Varun Dhawan, Catherine Teresa, Sara Ali Khan, Kartik Aaryan and Amrita Khanvilkar will grace the opening ceremony of the 53rd International Film Festival of India, or IFFI. Goa Governor P.S. Sridharan, Chief Minister Pramod Sawant, Union Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur and Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting L. Murugan will also be present on the occasion. Opening ceremony will see cultural performances by top film celebrities from across the country. Music and dance groups from India and abroad will also perform at the opening ceremony. The theme of the opening ceremony is Evolution of Indian Cinema in the Last 100 Years, keeping with the spirit of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations. Indian Information and Broadcasting Minister Anurag Singh Thakur has extended his best wishes to all for the 53rd edition of International Film Festival of India, IFFI. In a message, Mr. Thakur said, since 1952, IFFI has provided Indian film industry with significant multifarious platform to showcase their diverse film languages on a global front. He said, as one of the world's leading producers of films, India has positioned itself as a creative industrial powerhouse. The minister said, over the years, IFFI has captured the emerging contemporary trends of cinema from an international perspective and encourages the participation of young filmmakers and creative geniuses alike. Mr. Thakur said, at this edition, audience and filmmakers will be able to experience an intricate tapestry of culture, language and the heritage of different nations woven by the prism of cinema. He also expressed confidence that this edition of Film Festival will be an exhilarating experience for all. Indian Minister of State for Information and Broadcasting Dr. L. Murugan has extended a warm welcome to the guests and delegates of the 53rd edition of International Film Festival of India, IFFI, which will commence in Goa on Sunday. In a message, the minister said that IFFI continues to flourish in the quality and quantity of content received every year, and this year the festival witnessed a record number of entries in Indian and international sections, exemplifying the growing global popularity of the festival. Dr. Murugan said, IFFI has curated a compelling package of films across genres, themes and social commentaries for the film lovers. He said the festival will also present an educational package of masterclasses and workshops. Dr. Murugan expressed confidence that this year IFFI will become a memorable experience for all its attendees.
India hosted a pavilion with the theme of Life, Lifestyle for the Environment at COP27 at Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt from 6th to 17th November. The pavilion had been designed to send out the message of life through various audio visuals, logos, 3D models, setup, decor and side events. Various side events were held during the entire duration of COP27 in the pavilion. The organizers of the side events included the central government ministries, state governments, PSUs, autonomous bodies, subordinate organizations, think tanks and UN organizations. The pavilion had a footfall of around 25,000 COP participants. The India Pavilion enthused the visitors with the display of India's achievements in climate change, using technology along with a display on Indian culture, textile and food. The block printing activity planned at the pavilion saw huge participation, especially from the young participants at COP. In the wake of the recent threat issued to journalists by a proscribed terror outfit, Srinagar police conducted simultaneous searches at various locations across Kashmir. A case under relevant sections of law was registered in police station Sherghari against terror handlers, active terrorists and terrorist associates of proscribed terror outfit Lashkar-e-Toiba and its offshoot TRF for online publication and dissemination of direct threat letters to journalists and reporters based in Kashmir. During the course of investigation, each team comprised 4 to 5 members and was led by an inspector, SI rank officer, monitored by the SDPO concerned. Simultaneous searches were conducted at 12 locations across the valley, including the houses of fugitives like Sajjad Gul, Mukhtar Baba, active terrorists of proscribed terror outfit, LET-TRF, and other suspects in Srinagar, Anantnag and Kulgam districts. Some suspects have been brought for examination and questioning. The seized materials by search teams include mobiles, laptops, memory cards, pen drives and other digital devices, documents, bank papers, rubber stamps, passports, other suspect papers, cash and Saudi currency. Meanwhile, general public has been requested to bring any information that is relevant to this case in the notice of Srinagar police. In Malaysia, voters cast ballots today in a tightly contested national election. Analysts said the outcome is hard to predict and could lead to new alliances if there is a hung parliament. Long lines had already formed in the capital Kuala Lumpur and other cities as voters rushed to cast ballots ahead of afternoon thunderstorms predicted in parts of the country. More than 21 million Malaysians, including 5 million new ones, are eligible to cast ballots to fill 222 seats in federal parliament and choose representatives in 3 state legislatures. The Election Commission has extended voting time from 9 to 10 hours, with results expected to be out late in the day. The main battle is between the United Malays National Organisation-led alliance and Anwar Ibrahim's Pakatan Harapan, or Alliance of Hope. The Perikatan Nasional, or National Alliance, which is a Malay-based bloc led by former Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin, is seen as a dark horse. 75-year-old Anwar has put up a strong fight as he crisscrossed the country. Malaysia has seen 3 prime ministers since the 2018 polls.
The 21 members of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Forum, APEC ministers, pledged to keep supply chains and markets open. APEC has issued a joint declaration in Bangkok highlighting the immense human suffering caused by the war, lamenting its impact on economic growth, inflation, supply chains and energy and food security. The leaders of the 21 APEC member economies issued the 2022 Leaders Declaration following the 29th APEC Economic Leaders meeting chaired by the Prime Minister of Thailand, Prayut Chan-o-cha. The declaration affirms APEC leaders' long-standing commitment to promote strong, balanced, secure, sustainable and inclusive growth. Given the continued efforts of economies to respond to and mitigate the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, leaders are determined to achieve a post-COVID-19 economic recovery and will reinforce systems to prepare for future crises. APEC leaders will meet again in the United States of America in 2023. Leaders also welcomed Peru's offer to host APEC in 2024 and the Republic of Korea's offer for 2025.
In today's Hotspot section, we have our special correspondent Shweta Singh from Kathmandu joining us today, who will discuss Nepal elections and voting that is scheduled for tomorrow.
The elections are significant in the wake of strategic importance of Nepal and strong ties between India and the Himalayan kingdom. We are now joined live by our correspondent Shweta Singh for an update on the elections in Nepal. Shweta, there is a lot of buzz regarding general elections in our neighbouring country Nepal. As a special correspondent to Nepal, inform our listeners about democratic setup there.
Our neighbouring country Nepal became a federal democratic republic in year 2008 on May 28 by electing a new elected constituent assembly and abolishing the 240-year-old monarchy. Today, Nepal has a president as head of state and a prime minister heading the government. The new constitution of Nepal was promulgated in year 2015 on September 20. through a majority of votes of constituent assembly members. With this historic achievement of making a constitution in Nepal through an elected representative body, elections of the president, prime minister and some other state positions are successfully held in Nepal now. On May 13 this year, local elections were held in Nepal successfully. And tomorrow, as you know, general elections in Nepal are scheduled. This will be the second federal and provincial elections since the promulgation of 2015 Constitution.
Right, Shweta. Now, as Nepal has geared up for voting tomorrow, how many voters are eligible to cast the vote for tomorrow's election?
There are like 18 million eligible voters in Nepal. They may vote for the National Assembly and for provincial elections in 7 provinces across Nepal. According to Article 84.5 of Nepal's Constitution, any citizen of Nepal who has reached the age of 18 and is of sound mind and not ineligible under federal election fraud and punishment laws has the right to vote. It implies that around 18 million Nepalis can vote for the candidates to represent them for the next 5 years. See, the right to vote is the most celebrated amongst democratic rights. Elections strengthen democracy. Actually, voting is a simple method to demonstrate one's civic responsibility.
Indeed, Shweta. Our listeners would like to know how are members of the House of Representatives elected in Nepal?
For the general elections in Nepal, both direct voting and proportionate methods are used. People will elect 275 members of the House of Representatives for both parliamentary and provincial assemblies tomorrow, in which members of the legislature will be elected by 2 methods, in which 165 members will be elected from single-member constituencies by first past the post voting, and the other remaining 110 members will be elected from a single nationwide constituency. Voters will receive separate ballot papers for the 2 methods.
Also for the elections, Shweta, how many political parties have registered to contest elections in Nepal?
Actually, a total of 84 parties have applied at the Election Commission of Nepal, seeking its approval to contest the general elections to be held tomorrow, though 116 parties were registered to it. Political parties that have already been registered at the Election Commission of Nepal need to register again every time ahead of elections in Nepal.
Now, Shweta, Election Commission of India, that is ECI, was invited as an international observer in Nepal's elections. What do you have to say on the matter?
Yes, Chief Election Commissioner of India, Shri Rajiv Kumar, is in Nepal as international observer. He is leading a delegation of 4-membered ECI officials as state guests in Nepal from 18th November to 22nd November 2022. Not only Chief Election Commissioner of India, but Chief Election Commissioners from Bhutan, Bangladesh and Maldives are also taking part in the election process of Nepal as the international observers. During his visit, Shri Rajiv Kumar is visiting polling stations at Kathmandu and areas around. In fact, you see, ECI has always been in the forefront in promoting cause of democracy worldwide through bilateral as well as multilateral interactions, and has always endeavored to facilitate exchange of knowledge and sharing of best practices to strengthen democratic institutions and process. ECI's India International Institute of Democracy and Election Management has by far trained more than 2,200 officers from 109 countries, of whom 70 officers from Nepal have also been trained as part of capacity building initiatives. A capacity building program for 25 officials from Election Commission of Nepal is also scheduled to be held from 13th to 24th March 2023. And you see, ECI had been chairing the Association of World Election Bodies, which is the world's largest international organization in the field of election management, since September 2019 to October 2022. Association of World Election Bodies currently comprises of 119 election management bodies from 109 countries. ECI has now been unanimously elected as the new chair of the Association of Asian Election Authorities for the term 2022 to 2024, thus globally acknowledging ECI's presence and efficient conduct of elections in the world's largest democracy.
On this note, Shweta, we would like to know about the measures taken to ensure fair elections in Nepal.
The Election Commission of Nepal has designated 10,892 polling stations and 22,227 centers for the election, in which 2,412 candidates for the first past the post, and there will be 2,194 proportional representation candidates who will be competing for House of Representative seats. Around 4,50,000 temporary voters will vote on Sunday for the proportional representation system from 141 temporary polling centers. Polling stations in Nepal are no smoking zones, mobile is prohibited there, and carrying of arms is prohibited in the polling station. Actually, you see, the government has announced a 2-day public holiday for the polls, while educational institutions, including schools, have closed from today. While you see, Nepal Election Commission has also announced several measures to ensure the elections are conducted without any incident. For this purpose, there is a shutting of the Indo-Nepal border, enforcing air patrolling, and setting up of 3-tier security at polling stations.
Okay, last question, Shweta. After voting tomorrow, when are the results expected to be out?
The counting is probably to happen on 8th of December this year, 18 days from voting. This time, the first past the post ballot paper will be counted in the first phase, first for the House of Representatives and then for the Provincial Assembly. Thus, the counting of votes for proportional representation election will follow the first past the post one.
This is All India Radio giving you the world news. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
Sports Ministry has approved Olympic gold medalist Neeraj Chopra's proposal to train in United Kingdom under Target Olympic Podium Scheme or TOPS. Besides Neeraj Chopra, the ministry has also cleared the proposals for shuttler Kidambi Shrikant, wrestler Deepa Punia and javelin thrower and Commonwealth Games medalist Anu Rani for foreign training. The funding will cover the player and their support staff's flight, accommodation, local travel and food costs, among other expenditures. TOPS will also provide each athlete an out-of-pocket allowance of $50 per day for any other expense. Reigning Asian Youth Champion Ravina and Kunjarani Devi Thongam moved into the quarterfinals of the IBA Youth Men's and Women's World Boxing Championship 2022 in La Nuquia, Spain on Saturday. Ravina punched out Hungary's Varga Francisca Rossi, while Kunjarani blanked Spain's Jorge Martinez Maria 5-0 in a one-sided affair. Among the men boxers in action, Mohit moved into the quarterfinals after his opponent Thomas Limenis of Lithuania got disqualified in the second round. Sahil Chauhan entered the pre-quarterfinal stage after comfortably defeating Azerbaijan's Daniel Holostenko 5-0 in the round of 32 bout. However, Nikhil and Harsh lost their respective round of 32 bouts. 9 Indians, including 3 women, will be in action in the last 16 stage on the 5th day of the tournament on Sunday.
Football's greatest show on earth, the FIFA World Cup, will be off to a glittering start in Qatar capital Doha on Sunday. 32 top countries from 5 regions will be in action for the championship title. The opening ceremony will be held at the Al Bayt Stadium in Al Khor at 7:30 p.m. India time. In all, 64 matches will be held across 8 stadiums in Qatar. South Korean boy band BTS's Jungkook would perform Dreamers, while Black Eyed Peas, Robbie Williams and Nora Fatehi would be among the other performers at the opening ceremony. The host nation plays Ecuador in the opening match on Sunday at 9:30 p.m. India time. The FIFA World Cup this time assumes importance in the wake of the fact that for the first time the tournament is being held in a Middle East country, and also the first time that it is being held in winter. The earlier editions were held in June and July. This World Cup will be different from previous ones, as the football legends like Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo and Neymar will be giving their all in, as it may be their last World Cup.
FIFA World Cup 2022 in Qatar has a lot to offer. For the youngsters, it might be the last time to see the football legends like Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo and Neymar in action at the World Cup. Among other familiar faces set for a World Cup farewell include 39-year-old Brazil's Dani Alves and Portugal's Pepe, 38-year-old Thiago Silva, 37-year-old Luka Modric, 36-year-old Manuel Neuer, and Olivier Giroud, and Luis Suarez, Edinson Cavani and Hugo Lloris, who are all 35, may be in the same position. With France striker Karim Benzema, Spain midfielder Sergio Busquets and Poland forward Robert Lewandowski, all 34 years old, and Germany forward Thomas Müller, 33. The list of players potentially appearing on the world stage for the last time is as lengthy as it is illustrious. Often described as a complete footballer, Kevin De Bruyne, a Belgian professional footballer, is also set to retire post-Qatar World Cup 2022. Whether this might be Kevin De Bruyne's or Neymar's last World Cup remains to be seen.
FIFA has prohibited the sale of alcohol inside or around the perimeter of stadiums in Qatar after last-minute showdown talks just 2 days before the tournament. FIFA said that the decision was made following discussions with the host country authorities. However, they mentioned that an alcohol-free beverage would remain available at all the World Cup stadiums in Qatar. The World Cup was awarded to Qatar back in 2010. It is scheduled to take place from 20th November to the 18th of December.
In table tennis, star Indian table tennis player Manika Batra clinched the bronze medal at the ongoing ITTF ATTU Asian Cup tournament at Wamark Indoor Stadium in Bangkok, Thailand on Saturday, becoming the first Indian female paddler to win a medal at the event. She defeated world number 6 and 3-time Asian champion Hina Haita by 4-2 to clinch the bronze medal. World Children's Day will be celebrated tomorrow. On the occasion, the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights will launch training modules for chairpersons and members of child welfare committees and protocols for restoration and repatriation of children in New Delhi. These modules and protocols have been developed to address the amended roles of child welfare committees and district child protection officers in matters of children in need of care and protection. The training module has been made with an aim to bring the roles and responsibilities of child welfare committees in one place. Women and Child Development Ministry said the government is committed to reach out to every child needing care and protection.
Here is a quick look at the headlines once again. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar stresses on collective approach to terrorism. Science and Technology Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh chairs the review meeting for the 18th G20 Summit to be held in Coimbatore. Nepal set to go for polls on Sunday for the general elections. The 53rd edition of IFE Goa begins on Sunday with the theme Evolution of Indian Cinema in Last 100 Years. India Pavilion at COP27 in Egypt with the theme of Life Sends Message for a Sustainable Lifestyle for Environment. 29th APEC Summit affirms commitment to strong, balanced, secure, sustainable and inclusive growth. FIFA World Cup 2022 to start with a bang on Sunday in Doha, Qatar. And Manika Batra clinches bronze at ITTF ATTU Asia Cup tournament. And now, before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by an artist from Oman.
Vaishnav Jan to tene kahiye je peed par aaye jaane re. Vaishnav Jan to कहिए जे पीड़ पर आए जाने रे पर दुखे उपकार करे तो ये मन अभिमान नाने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहीं.
And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.